You know what? I got whatever the bug was that was going around on. It really did. And I'm still, I mean, I took a Z-Pack, but still occasionally will get that cough going. So on December 31st, then, I was gonna be in bed at, 10 o'clock anyway, so it didn't matter. But,
We are no longer muted.
we're no longer muted. Perfect. Good afternoon and welcome to the Children's Services Council of Leon County's Governing Council meeting Thursday, January 16th. It is 4:32 and I would like to call this meeting to order. Ms. McPhail, would you be so kind as to take the roll, please?
Councilmember O'Brien. Councilmember Marsteller. Here. Councilmember Johnson.
Here.
Judge Hobbs.
Here.
Superintendent Hannah.
Here.
Commissioner Cummings.
Here.
Treasurer Mitchell.
Here.
Vice Chair Watts. Chair Jones. Mr. Chair, you have a floor.
Thank you very much. Just so the rest of the council members know, our chair, Mr. Jones, is running a little behind as he is picking up a important family member. That would be his mom. And her flight is running behind. So with that, let's see if item 3 is the approval of the agenda. If I could get a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move approval of the agenda.
Thank you, Commissioner. Second on the approval of our agenda. Thank you, Ms. Marsteller. I have a motion and second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstaining? Very nice. Show it adopted unanimously. Item 4, my favorite, is general public comment. Ms. McHale, is there anyone in person or online who would like to make a comment?
There is no public comment, Chair Mitchell.
Thank you. very much. Hearing none, we will move to the consent agenda, which includes the minutes from our December 19th meeting, the 2024 annual report to the Leon County government, and an invitation to the 10th anniversary of the Summit on Children. If there are any questions, I don't think anyone asked to have any of the items. Okay. Could I get a motion?
Mr. Chair, I just have
Yes,
one
ma'am.
little minor correction on the minutes.
Yes, ma'am.
On the first page, paragraph 2, where it says Commissioner Cummings offered a substantive motion. That should be substantive. I know it's just a typo because later on it does say substantive.
Yes.
So it should be substantive.
Oh,
Yes.
so with the correction of the Scrivener's error, could I get a motion on our consent agenda?
Mr. Chair, I move acceptance of the consent agenda with the necessary minor correction.
I have a motion from Commissioner Cummings, a second from Superintendent Hannah. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? Very nice. Show the consent agenda adopted unanimously. Which brings us to our committee reports. And, you know, as the chair and the treasurer, let me draw your attention to the Finance and Budget Committee report, which is really just the financials for December 2024. Mr. Grayson isn't available, and so if anyone has questions, I'm happy to take a stab at them. Ms. Snyder is also here, but if we don't have an answer for you, we can certainly have Mr. Grayson get an answer for you. Are there any questions on the finance and really the financials for December 2024? Hearing none, could I get a motion to accept the financials for December 2024?
Mr. Chair, I move acceptance of the financial report is prepared.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Cummings. I'll second. Thank you, Mr. Johnson. I have a motion by Commissioner Cummings, a second by Mr. Johnson. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? Very nice. Show it adopted unanimously. Okay, this is where I can shut up and turn item 7 over to programming and Sika, is this you? Oh, good.
Thank you, Treasurer Mitchell. So you will see on pages 44, 45, 46, and 47, the draft outline for the CSC Leon Impact to Outcomes Report. Per the direction of the council from the last December meeting, you asked to see an outline of what that impact report would contain prior to us getting that compiled and drafted. So that outline is included here. I could go through it if you'd like for me to. If not, then what we would ask is that you take it and look at it. And if there's anything in there that you think doesn't belong or something you would like added, if you could get that information back to us by next Friday, that would be very helpful. You can email that to myself and Holly, and we will make those changes as we get the report ready. Remembering that the target is that the report summation will be presented at the Summit on Children, which is February 18th at the Community and Business Breakfast. I think the breakfast starts at 8:30, and there's a QR code at the end of the annual report in here that you can scan and sign up for the breakfast, the provider to provider, or the caregiver roundtables that will be at the end.
Sika, I started to, I've gone to the Children's Summit many years in a row, right? And this one looks a little different. It's structured differently. And so I started to sign up and I'm like, oh gosh, I need to pause here. It seems like what I would think of as the traditional children's summit is really the morning portion. Can you maybe explain what each portion is,
Sure.
to anybody who's tuned in as well, especially that bidding provider part in the middle?
Sure. So you're correct. Usually the summit has been broken down into a morning and an afternoon. So the mornings when the actual summit occurs, there are presentations by various subject matter experts here in the community. And then in the afternoon, they have what's called provider to provider. So that is specifically for the providers in the community to connect and get more information about what their organizations do and how they can collaborate and partner on various things. So we broke it down and made it a little bit different this year. So first of all, partnership with Whole Child Leon, okay, somebody is on Skype. So it's in partnership with Whole Child Leon, and the morning is more the traditional summit, but we'll have breakfast that will be served with that. And we will, the event will be emceed by Chair Jones. We'll have greetings from the sheriff as well as Superintendent Hannah. We're hoping, we're crossing our fingers that we might even get either an appearance or a video from former Senator Loran Osley, who is now back and recovering well. And then it's a part of presenting what we have done as a council from inception, because our community has only gotten bits and pieces, but not a full picture of what this council has done. In addition, we have a session on AI and early education. I cannot remember the name of the presenter because it was Angela Long, and now we're changing because she has a conflict. So I'm a penchant to Holly because she's our representative on that planning committee.
We're actually confirming which speaker, so it's
Okay.
okay for you to not divulge who it is, because Dr. Long unfortunately has to be at a Board of Trustees meeting.
For
Yes, it could be decided now, and I just haven't gotten the update, but as of this morning, they had narrowed it to 2, but both are available.
So the traditional summit would be that morning, the business one. The provider to provider really is for the providers. That's not necessarily for the public, but rather an opportunity for them to connect, for them to talk about the services they provide and see how they can best partner and collaborate and discuss what supports they feel they need in the community. And so Whole Child Leon, ourselves, I think Florida After School will be represented there to kind of hear what's going on with that. Now, the last part, you may want to participate and register for that. That is the caregiver roundtable. So it's an opportunity for our caregivers, whether they're parents, grandparents raising children, foster parents, empty nesters, whatever it might be, that are engaged in children and family issues, to talk about some of the supports that they need, some of the things that we're doing well. And we really see it, and some of the challenges, we really see it as an extension of those community listening sessions that we always do before we enter into any type of procurement for services or programs or anything like that. So for us, it will be a full day into the evening, but you can absolutely feel free to register for all 3 or just 1 or just 2.
The provider a portion of it, have we sent an email to all of our providers from inception, along with those who may have bid on an RFP or an ITN or an RFP, whatever, so that they're aware?
I
Because
don't know about the bid part, but I know that all of our providers have been invited, as well as anyone who has an interface at all with Town.
oh, okay.
But we absolutely can ensure that they get that information to find out.
I mean, it's almost like a free opportunity to interact with folks who have either provided services to us or who wanted to provide, but have just not been successful in the bidding process. So, as we are always looking to expand those who can provide services in the county. Here's an opportunity to do it at no cost, because an email's free. Okay. Any more questions on the Children's Summit?
So I do. So you're gonna present basically this, Sika?
Yes, well, we'll present a PowerPoint version of it. And the idea is that it would be a longer report, but then we will also do, I like to call it the infographic version, but it would be more of a three-sided type mini report that can be handed out on the spot. We will give you all copies of that, so that it's clear where we've been, what we've done, and how we're really shifting from the first part of our inception and just kind of getting outputs and now shifting into an outcome space.
Sika, I saw that in the backup, the annual report went to Commissioner Welsh as chair for the Leon County Commission. I assume all of the commissioners also received a copy?
They all get it. We are to send it to Leon County, and I always address that to the chair.
Yeah.
All of the commissioners get it in their first meeting packet
Okay.
after so they have to get it by December 31st. So they got it on December 31st. So all.
We received it.
Okay, so you got it, yes.
So one of the, and Commissioner, one of the things when many years ago, when I sat on Child Leon's board, we were required to produce an annual report. And I remember, being one of those who received reports, when you were a secretary, you would get all these reports and you were required to provide them to the governor and the legislature, right? And so the report would come in, you look at it and you put it aside. And so it frustrated me with Whole Child Leon because they were doing a lot of really wonderful things in the community, and I didn't think they were being properly communicated. And so we as board members decided to take it upon ourselves to reach out to those people. The city commission was getting it, the school board was getting it, that we had a relationship with, and we would set up a meeting and go and sit down and go through the annual report. I don't know, in addition to the county commissioners, who else is an interested party that we should sit down with. And it doesn't need to be, a council member that sits down with them, but if there's any value to an annual report, it's going through and highlighting in a face-to-face meeting, if it's possible, because it's hard to read through those and really, because I think about Commissioner Cummings, how many things do you get? It would be like us getting an annual report, and it's part of our regular day. So I don't know if there's a way that we could at least offer to any of the county commissioners who would like it a 15-minute. We've highlighted a few things in the report, and Sika, you or Holly could go in maybe together and just answer any questions that they might have.
Sure.
Would it be helpful, Commissioner? I mean, I know you already know, but.
I haven't seen the agenda, but generally when we get reports like this, and from I think last year, our executive director was there. I heard the report last year.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure the county administrator will probably reach out to her. I'm not sure if it will be on the January agenda or the February agenda, but we'll probably.
For the retreat.
I'm
scheduled for
the retreat. Okay, it will be during our retreat, but
Okay.
she will be there and she will highlight the annual report.
Very good.
Well, in addition, she did an outstanding job on Tuesday night. Great job. She presented for about 10 or 15 minutes on all that we've done the last several years and the direction we're heading. And the board members were impressed, in addition to their.
I
The other four were very impressed.
I was impressed by the annual report. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
it's beginning to tell the story. We have, miles to go before we sleep, but it is beginning to tell a story. And I did not know of your presentation. Good for you. And I didn't.
Is that at the school board?
Yes, it was at the school fair. I do want to clarify that the report that you get is just the statutory requirements that we must submit to Leon County. We would, with the start of the impact report, we will do a true annual report that gives a visual for that year. But as all CSCs that have to submit that information, it just looks like a lot because now it is a lot, whereas before it wasn't. But that will not be our formal annual report moving forward, but rather our statutory requirement.
So so I think I was complimenting maybe the impact of this.
Oh, this is just the outline. We haven't
Okay,
even
right.
done, yeah,
But it
so
just
Holly has
seems like,
started the.
by the way, that's all I would read. It gives.
But we will have an executive summary in there, and so, like I said, we'll have a longer report that will be available online if you want to flip through the flip book, but this outline will be dumbed down, and the best way I can put it are infographics. You know how you get infographics and it very clearly shows you, that's what we'll be doing with this impact report as a summation of the actual,
So you have executive summaries throughout your annual report that you submitted to the county. You have certain pages where you have summary and, you go through.
yes.
what's the
So
status
the
and everything.
exactly. So the first part is an executive summary in the letter.
Mhm.
The second part is answering the specific statutory questions in more detail.
Okay.
And so just for anyone who's listening, they ask for what you did currently, what you did in the last year, and what you're going to do in the current year, if you're going to continue programs or discontinue programs and why. So that's why it seems pretty detailed when you get into those questions. So as we move into the years, the summary that goes to Leon County will get bigger, will get bigger and bigger and larger. But as you can see in the outline, it will have the budget in there. It will show you what we expended, what we dispersed, what we rolled over. So the plan is for it to be very detailed. Now, this first one will be from inception to the end of fiscal year. What year did we just finish? 24. The next reports will be in the actual fiscal year. So it will be fiscal year 25 only, fiscal year 26 only. So, but we thought it was important to go from inception all the way for this first impact report.
Got it. Any more questions or comments on the draft outline?
I just have one other question. I know we were working with the group from FSU.
Yes.
Establish goals, and are they still involved?
They are still involved. Our agreement with them was mostly for our family support. So it would be the parent family strengthening and parent education. And then we did have mentoring programs that also participated. They are continuing that work because we're in the second year of those family supports contract. We will put, there is a portion in the outline under
46.
there you go, page 46,
3A.
under focus on measurable change, so 3A, and you will see there that we talk about Vanguard Consulting. So we will put in there what we did with that engagement, and basically Vanguard is FSU. What we did with that engagement, and also the capacity building and technical assistance that we did through our contract with VHS and Annie. So that will be in there as well. Thank you.
This is, when did you say that so this outline will go into the presentation that you're putting on February the 18th? Is there when would the dust settle on that presentation so that we could get a look-see at it beyond the outline?
The actual report will be published like the week before, and when she's giving the presentation, it will be accompanied with an infographic with a QR code linking directly to the full report. This is the outline for the full report.
Just a couple of quick. some of this just sparked questions that aren't related to February the 18th presentation, but one of the items on page 45 under Family Resource Centers, that last bullet under Family Resource Centers talks about expanding to Fort Braden. I know at the last last meeting, we had someone speak up against using the Fort Braden Community Center. Has there been any follow-up on that?
The county is following up on that.
Okay.
My understanding is that there has been no other consternation. But Shinkton Lammy, who is an assistant county administrator over their community partners and human services, we meet every other week and he says they're handling that. But at the moment, there is no plan to do anything different than, Holly, give me the name of the schoolhouse.
It's the Scout House
The
that
Scout
we're
House.
using, and we did go out and confirm that we will not be impacting the concerns that Ms. Bates brought up about the ability for the community to continue to use it for all of their events. The Scout House use was actually not being used by anybody except Boys and Girls Club on a periodic basis. So the rest of the schoolhouse at Fort Braden will stay completely accessible to the community.
The only other comment I had was over on page 46 under knowledge gained under collaboration is key. And I think that concept is really great to talk about the partnerships that we have. One that I was thinking about before I was on the council, didn't you convene a group of subject matter experts around, was it prenatal to?
We did.
And I'm just thinking about ways to do shout outs for those folks.
Absolutely.
Even making sure that as we move to a more outcomes measure, that they're seeing those metrics that relate to the area that you brought them together for. So they're going, yes, those are the right metrics to have in place to measure going forward.
Absolutely, we can do that. Additionally, in the report, it will list everyone that, every organization that received funding. So that all of the partners will be mentioned in the report as well, but that is an awesome idea.
And was that 10 groups with offset troops and?
For
Ghana,
goodness, because we did that one twice. We, Capillary Healthy Start, Melanin Moms Meet, FSU Center for Prevention and Intervention. We had, they just said his name, Kessler with Scottsdale Academy, Roy. Keister. Sorry, Mr. Keister.
With background.
Scottsdale, we had FAC that was involved. So it ended up being very close to 10. Yeah, because we actually did that group twice. But again, as you read through this, please email us and let us know if there's anything you'd like to see in here that maybe we missed, or if there's something in here that you think we don't need. I doubt that you'll have that issue.
It's very nice. So that's the impact to outcomes. Under programming for an updated strategic framework, starting on page 48. I think that is just faster.
At the last meeting, strategic planning came up and we discussed wanting to make sure that we have metrics involved in everything that we're doing and really getting to a strategic plan. So the team and I pulled out the original strategic framework that was put together very shortly after I started. And we crossed that with what this council has already approved and funded. So we're hoping what we did was take a little bit of the work out when you go to look at your strategic plan. So when we looked at what you've already approved in funding and we crossed that with the framework and the theory of change, it came down to 3 areas. Kindergarten readiness, which was your top area after strategic planning in September. Youth development. And then lastly, family support services. And the way that we organized this document was by theory of change reference. And so let's take kindergarten readiness on page 48. The theory of change references, there were 4. And at the end of each one, you'll see a color and an abbreviation. So the P is for priority, the abbreviation is for the priority area. And then the A and the I is for impact area, and the number is for which impact area this particular kindergarten readiness dealt with. And so for theory of change reference for kindergarten readiness, increase the number of children who enter, and I'm not going to do this for each one. I'm just going to do this for this one because you need to take it and digest it, but I want to explain it. The theory of change references were increase the number of children who enter kindergarten socially, emotionally, and academically ready. Well, that's priority, success in school and life in the magenta, impact area number 1. For the second, reduce infant and maternal mortality. I won't read the rest. That's priority 2 or priority healthy children, youth, and families in the blue. Impact area 1, which is reducing the infant and maternal mortality. 3, same thing. That impact area, I thought I was making it so you could see it easier, but we emailed this out to you and you can see it on the screen really well. We'll pull the color out, Holly. Okay. But the priority, I promise on the screen it looked really good. The priority area was stable and nurturing children and families. And then the impact area number 4. So we did this after sitting around and analyzing everything that this council did. And it really fell into these areas: kindergarten readiness, youth development, and family supports. And so what you have under there is your baseline community data points, and it shows you the years. I think we were able to do the +1, or did we leave it where it was?
This was directly from the framework, so this is
Okay,
the original.
So this is the original. So this is not baseline +1 or 2. This is baseline from the needs assessment. And then you'll see where it says goal to be determined. That's the piece that we're missing. We don't have a goal that's associated with each of these areas. And that's right where we stopped with our strategic planning with Alice Lee Stansbury. And so then under here, you have the programs that we funded. So for kindergarten readiness, the on-ramp program, rebound and recovery, our perinatal navigator program that goes with that transportation program, which also goes under family supports. Developmental screenings, we're working in partnership with 211, and then the family stabilization. Then we pulled out the recommendations that we provided to show you some other options that you might want us to consider as you move forward, or if you look at these and say, yeah, bring us something else, then we can bring you something else. So that is how each of these areas is divided. And basically what we realized is, rather than trying to do our strategic plan according to the theory of change, the theory of change is just how we're going to do the things that are your strategic focus. And right now, your strategic focus is in 3 parts: kindergarten readiness, youth development, and family supports. This does not have to be the focus, but that is what has been done to date. Does that make sense?
It does.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, may I ask a question?
Yes, Commissioner.
Okay, so these are areas, and I think we had a couple of workshops, and then based on the needs assessment, I think this is just what we concluded with. But for the sake of measuring progress, what's the baseline? Where do we start? Is it based on the needs assessment?
It is, because so when we see the baseline data, what we would do is look at this and feasibly think, okay, over the next 3 to 5 years, in congruent with, so let me use kindergarten readiness because the state has a kindergarten readiness rate, and Mr. Hannah also has a goal that is congruent with that, but his goal may be incremental. So we look at those, look at our programs, look at the baseline data, which we will now update to 2 years. When we go into strategic planning, we will update this to baseline +2 because now we have 2 years of data. What is the feasible goal, SMART goal that goes along with this so that now we know everything that we now do is going to be with that goal in mind according to the metrics that we set in each of those procurements. So satisfying the metrics should get us closer to whatever the goal is. So that is the strategy so that we really hit what that goal is. And so if the goal is to improve over the next 5 years, kindergarten readiness from, where are we now?
51 to 70.
51 to 70. All right, so then everything we do, when we build those metrics in, it's gonna be toward getting that rate up to 70.
Yeah, is that 51% statewide? Is that where we are, Leon County? Where is that? 51 is what?
Leon,
Leon.
we're at 49, I think.
I mean, is it compared to the stats statewide?
I can pull up the gap.
You can
Yeah,
roll
I
up,
wanna
and
say-
I don't know what the state is, to be honest with you.
I think state might be at 60. Is it not that high?
I don't
Am
think it's
being
that high. I know that
ambitious?
we were lower than it, but I'll pull up the gap.
Lower than the state average.
We
We
had,
were after COVID. Yeah, we were after COVID.
Okay.
And so we've had some improvements though. But we still, ideally you want to get to 100%.
Absolutely.
Ideally, that's where you want to be, but
We were, I would really broke right now, but we were significant, we were higher, I think we were 60 or
Mhm.
better.
Than the state average.
We were at 60, locally, we were at 60% or higher in the past and just fell off a cliff. But I don't have this numbers in front of me.
and I see so many I can't. There's some I can keep straight if I'm saying them all the time and I don't want to quote the wrong number. But that would be the thought process behind how we come up with the goal. So then this strategic focus that this council picked was kindergarten readiness, and that was to go through 26. So the idea is any strategic plan, in my opinion, any strategic planning that we would do, and I think the suggestion was to wait until after the governor had made his appointment so that we would know who our new council members are, would be looking at a 3 to 5 year strategic plan, in my opinion, that would start fiscal year 25, 26 as an antecedent, and then really 26, 27 to, what's that, 30? It's 3 years, 32 would be 5 years, which is right around the time we go up for consideration. Yeah.
Stika, so as it relates to kindergarten readiness, our goals are going to be consistent with the superintendent's goals, and we're all kind of rowing together, right?
Mhm.
So that means that as we are pursuing this, this, whatever the number the superintendent's trying to, and we're working with Brooke Bruner, who is his point person for this. We know what they're doing so that all of the things that we're doing are complementing it.
Absolutely.
Okay, and so as I think about where we sit right now, what we have funded, I see a couple of, suggestions. I don't know that that's an exhaustive list. Those are just some suggestions, some that I've seen before, some that are new. But I sort of feel, and this may be what you're talking about, I would feel uncomfortable saying, let's scrap something because I don't know what's worked.
But exactly, so I thought you were going in that direction. So it could be, and I think Rebound and Recovery is a perfect program. So Rebound and Recovery started in the pre-K 3 and pre-K 4 classrooms. The first goal was to make sure it was in the Title I classrooms because we knew that their kindergarten readiness rate, their resiliency, all of that was lower than your non-Title I schools. So that's where it went. turned out they were able to put it at every school that had a pre-K 3 and a pre-K 4, and then the behavioral class. So they did, it is hot, isn't it? Okay, I know I have this shit on, but.
No, it's
It's
hot
hot.
when it's off, it ain't hot when it's on.
Okay, so I'm gonna turn it down just a little bit more. So
Yeah, I told you, I got here early and did jacket up.
with the expansion, we're able to keep up that work, but now looking at those schools that are the target areas that would have the lowest kindergarten readiness rate, that is where rebound and recovery is now expanding. But they're expanding into in the community early learning centers and family childcare homes to now infuse around those schools. So to your point, it may not be a new program, it may be the programs that we're doing in a focused manner, because the only way we're going to get to those goals is honing in on where the quote problem spots are. Now, with that though, we also want to recognize that I call it Title I-ish. So while the Gilchrist area, because that's where my kids went, is not a Title I school, there are Title I-ish children in that school. So yes, it's not about scrapping. It's about looking at where the money is going to be most impactful. We gave some suggestions according to the recommendations that were in the news, the needs assessment. But those may not be the programs. By the time we go to strategic planning, there could be other programs that other CSCs are doing that might work. I think I talked last month about the CIFRA that Leon County Schools got. And that program is the Littles to Leaders. It's expanding on Littles to Leaders. And is it Reach Out and Read? Okay, Reach Out and Read, which is in the medical offices. So now that would be moving, and anything we do, we want to take all of that into consideration as we look at what programs will get us all to that increased kindergarten readiness rate. So it really is a Tetris, if you will.
And may I just augment what you're
Yes.
saying? We pulled up the latest reports and I'd like to congratulate the superintendent. They're now exceeding the statewide average. They're at 53%. And the statewide average is 51%. So in the last year, the state average has come down, but Leon County has gone up. Also, that's the latest numbers.
So one of the comments that is made pretty much from all segments of Leon County, the community, just based on my interactions with folks, is that they believed that the council was trying to do too much, like that we needed to focus. And this is kind of getting to sort of what Sika, you were talking about. Again, if we're making progress, and I know the two things from rebound and recovery that came in, the first time I was like, oh, this seems like a pretty cool idea. And then the results came back. Not only is it a cool idea, it's working. Like I would want, before we decided to jump into funding another program, if something is working, I'd like to do more of it. And so again, I think it's a good idea to wait, and I have every reason to believe that now that that the governor's office will be supplying us with our new members. The 3 vacancies will be filled, I should say. And it is a good idea that we wait so that we're not making decisions that, yeah, maybe there's 3 brand new people who are like, oh, no, I want to go in a different direction. The only thing I would say is when something is working, it's a good idea to have more of it. And when any of the data indicates that it's not working, taking less and perhaps finding a new program to start up, or maybe if it's, programs are really working, go a little deeper with those.
Well, so yes, and I think one of the reasons we set it up this way was so that this council could see that while the first procurement in summer 22, it was about getting kids out of the house into these programs after COVID. And while it may seem that it wasn't focused, I hope that when you all look at this, you will see that it actually was. It, as we got better, it focused in 3 very clear areas. And so as you go into strategic planning, you can decide, I only want to focus on 1 of these areas or 2 of these areas, or I like the fact that we're focusing on 3. I want to stick with what we're doing. Let's put more money into that. But more importantly, let's get the goals that go along with each of these so that when we are programming, it's not just about the metrics, but it's the metrics that go along with getting the outcome. And we've done what councils do. You form, you storm, you norm, and then you perform. And I think that maybe now we are right on the cusp of that performance. That's my. Yes, Ms. Marks.
First of all, this is a very helpful structure, I think, that ties back clearly to what the council has done and what the has been in the past. And I think it's a great structure that will help is too light a word, but it will really help us in our strategic planning when that happens. So as the voice on the council that has been repeatedly calling for this, I'm happy. But my question is, are you and your staff currently in the process of updating the numbers from the original needs assessment? And if so, when is that effort going to be done? So that obviously has to be done. We take a look at it and then we go into strategic planning.
So in my mind, that would be something we need to put back in front of you because our team cannot update those numbers alone. That was well, let me back up. When we do the procurements, we do update the numbers. So we're trying to update the numbers all along the way, and Holly definitely is updating the numbers. But I think if I hear what you're saying, which is a complete update to the needs assessment, I think that is something we would bring before you so that you could either make the decision to go with the company that did it before or procure for a new company to come in and do that. That's a little beyond our scope as this.
And just one point, Ms. Mark Stoller, that needs assessment, which was comprehensive, ran about $300,000. And it may be something we could have, and the vendor we went with was out of Miami, but we might be able to find someone who could take our original needs assessment, which we own, lay on top of that data that is available through the county, through all different sources, and at a cost significantly lower than 300 grand.
Yeah.
Come back with sort of an updated needs assessment, and because a lot of that needs assessment, that initial needs assessment, told us what we already did.
Well, exactly, and the categories of information are there. I don't think that there's any need to add any more or to reinvent the wheel. So
Right.
yes, updating it is.
And like I said, we've done, I mean, Holly's been working on heat maps and so kind of taking some of the things that they did, and as we presented these different options, giving you the most updated data that goes with that, because as we know, when we got in June of 22, already outdated, but I think they stopped like 3 months before we actually got. So we are definitely, while we have based the procurements that we brought before you on some recommendations and on data from the needs assessment, we have updated that data so that you have as true a picture as possible. But to do a sweeping update of that needs assessment, I agree. I think at a much less amount, there could be options because we own all that data.
You're,
Mr. Chair, can
Yeah,
I
yes,
make
ma'am.
one request to the color coding? It's blurry. Can you all just
We'll change,
change it and just email us those 3 pages? Because I appreciate your explanation.
Can't see.
But I can't see.
Can't see. Yeah.
I was very proud.
Mine is second, I second
On
that.
mine, it looked great. I thought, oh my gosh, it's gonna print out beautifully, and it did not. But we'll take the color out.
Yes.
and I just, I will second what Ms. Marshall said. That is, this is easy. I don't want to, it's, producing it may not be easy, but it is easy to follow along. And it's almost like we can, 3 months from now, grab the same document and say, hey, how are we tracking? So I second that motion, I do. Okay, oh my God. Well, Mr. Jones may never chair a meeting again because TikTok, look where we are.
I haven't even finished my bottle of water yet.
This brings us to item 8, which is the upcoming meetings and agenda items. We have an executive committee meeting on February 20th. Our next governing council meeting on March 5th. And a finance and budget committee meeting on March 20th. I don't want to be so presumptuous as to set an agenda for the next governing council meeting without the chair having.
But there are a
discussed
couple
it with
things that you all will be required to do. So that meeting is March 6th. We will have the recommendations for the out of school time RFP.
Okay,
It is due tomorrow. Is it by 5 or noon? By
5.
Okay. Close of business tomorrow. Those proposals are due. So if you remember, we moved the meeting up. So that will definitely be on the agenda. Do we have anything else we know that's gonna be on that agenda?
That's the main thing.
So it's
No, that's the main thing. March 6th.
No, March
It's on the
5th. It's the Wednesday.
It is the Wednesday. I'm sorry, March 5th, and I think I put 6 on.
So is it 4:30 or 4?
4?
I've got 4.
It's 4.
It is 4, and now all the calendar invites, once this meeting is over, are all fixed.
They're all good, so
We
you
can
won't have to
control
ask us
them.
anymore. We were trying to do our own managed IT and we did something and that meeting won't go away. We cannot figure out who owns the meeting. We can't
I
delete
support
it.
program services.
So moving forward, what you see is what you get.
okay.
Give us a little grace on that.
So we have those 3 meetings scheduled.
Yes.
That brings us to item 9 and member comments. Mr. Johnson, do you have a member comment or back to item 8?
Both.
Yes, yeah, let's go back to item 8.
I just had a question about, so I wanted an update on the out of school time RFP. So that's been on the streets
Mhm.
and it's back. How are we planning to evaluate those responses?
You want to report on the evaluation team?
Yes, we will have an evaluation committee. At this juncture, we have had no volunteers from the council to serve on that. However, if there is one that wants to act, you said maybe. That's on.
That's a yes.
Okay, then I will send you calendar invites right away. We did the last call, so we'll have a group. We don't advertise who's on the committee until the RFP closes, for all intents and purposes, and then they'll have the ability to make any disclosures based on all of the applications. There are currently 31 in-process applications in the system, so I can share that in terms of who's out there. But as soon as it closes, then we can release the list of those, and I will follow up with you, Mr. Johnson. Thank you for volunteering to serve as the delegate from the committee, and I'll get all those details for you. Yeah. Delegate from the council, and I'll get all the dates on your calendar as well. I think we went over this, but in terms of the evaluation panel, they not only have independent review, but then they'll serve on the panel for all of the interviews. So everyone who is deemed eligible will do a presentation to the council, and they're supposed to bring pictures and other things. We don't do site visits out to see the spaces, but we do bring them in for an in-depth interview.
So that's item 8, agenda item 8. Mr. Johnson, do you, under member comments?
No, that was it.
Okay, I do have, anybody for member comments? On the 23rd, next week, the Early Learning Coalition is having their annual fundraiser at Goodwood Museum. Many of the council members, including the Education Foundation, so that includes the superintendent and Mr. Jones, Mr. O'Brien through the Tallahassee Memorial, myself through the Southern Group, Leon County, so Commissioner Cummings, thank you so much, are supporting this. It is last year we raised just under $30,000. This year we are certainly well on target to exceed that. Those dollars, and I say this to all of you, please, 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 if you're available on the 23rd from 5:30 to 7:30, please come. The tickets for general public, you can go to the Early Learning Coalition at the Big Ben's website. It is called Color Me Blue, and all of the there's artwork by kids in and around the Big Bend. Most of them, Superintendent, you'll be pleased to know, are Leon County students. And I kid you not, some of this artwork is like, oh my heavens, it's really good. But in addition, they have silent auction items. There are 2 cruises, one that leaves from Tampa and kind of goes towards the Mexico route, another towards the Bahamas is out of the Port of Palm Beach. We have a beach house, all the silent auction items.
Massages, I want a massage now.
There is a massage again. There's also a medical, this word, esthetician.
Yeah.
It's the face stuff. There is a Valentine's night, just add water and mix for the diehard romantics. It should be a really good event. Again, well catered, open bar, music, and 5:30 to 7:30 on January 23rd at Goodwood Museum. And the proceeds go to help the Early Learning Coalition fund things that are not allowed to be funded with state or federal dollars. So come one, come all, and that's my big promo. And again, thank you, Leon County. Thank you, Leon County Education Foundation. Thank you, TMH, and thank you, the Southern Group.
Mr. Chair, I have a comment.
Commissioner.
I think it's important that we know that our executive director was honored this week at the MLK observance at the courthouse. And she was given an honor for her impact in the community in the spirit of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. for her dedication and service on the Children's Services Council and her concern and care for the children and families in our community. So I think we should give her a round of applause. What plaque? A nice plaque.
It is, yeah, it's very nice, and I'm definitely very young.
And Councilmember O'Brien, who is not here today, but he received an honor this morning as the past chamber president at the chamber annual breakfast this morning. So he was honored and given a plaque as well.
I'll tell you, for a small organization, we are mighty, and that the impact that the team that is Sika and her team, but also the 9 council members, it really is remarkable how many lives we touch, and how we're all kind of different, but somehow all of our paths keep crossing. And so I appreciate you, Commissioner, for pointing out 2 things that I didn't know, and congratulations, Scott.
I do want to announce, because Chair Jones is not here, one of the reasons his mom is here is because he is the keynote speaker for the Martin Luther King Jr. convocation that is held annually at Florida A&M University tomorrow at 10:10 at Lee Hall. So I know he would want me to announce that, and I do not get my hand slapped, but I definitely will be there as our representative.
Very good. So all the things he wasn't able to say tonight, he'll make up for it tomorrow. If there are no other member comments, I will take a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
Thank you, Commissioner. A motion, second by Superintendent Hannah without objection.